lover than a fighter, 'cause all my life I've been fighting. Never felt a feeling of comfort. All this time I've been hiding, and I never had someone to call my own. No, I'm so used to sharing. Love only left me alone, but I'm at one with the silence. I found peace in your violence. Can't show me there's no point in trying. I'm at one, and I've been silent for too long. I've been quiet for too long. I've been quiet for too long.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, Mr. D, for the Therapeutic Talk show. As I said, if you have a story to share, come and grab that seat and have that conversation. And today somebody has decided to grab that seat. And I'm not going to introduce her, but let us give her the opportunity to introduce herself before we start the conversation.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Silethubuhle Moyo. I am an international relations student, second semester, and I'm also the outgoing academic and legal affairs and the incoming parliamentarian for constituency A. And it's nice to be here. I'm happy to be here.
All right.
Finally.
All right. Before we go, I have to mention that she's someone that inspires me a lot. She's women into leadership. I like that. It's important to mention that leadership does not only belong to men. Ladies can get into it and then also do great stuff. And I've been inspired by the work you have done. And so for our first question, I'd like to ask, how was your mandate as the Legal and Academic Affairs Secretary? How was it?
It was amazing. It was a journey, to be honest, an adventure. I got to work with amazing people, different personalities. It was hard, definitely, here and there. But then, besides that, it was great. I think I really enjoyed my term.
Wonderful.
To be honest.
Wonderful. And one thing I know about leading or being in a position of being a leader is that you go to learn a lot. You go to learn a lot. You come out of that experience the other person. So my question is, what are the things you have learned from that experience?
Patience. I thought I was patient when I got into SRC. I think that was one of the main things that I stood on. But then when I got to work with adults, different personalities, people who have different visions, wants, needs. I learned to be patient, learned to understand people for who they are, what they are, and to accept people as well. I also learned to manage my time. I think that was the biggest lesson, because it got to a point where you had family, you have friends, you have the social life, you have SRC, which has now become your baby, a part of your life. You also have education, and all of them have to work at the end of the day. So I also learned to manage my time, and that's basically it.
Yeah, especially knowing that time management is really important. Being a student and a leader at the same time, it takes a lot. Is there anything you wish you would have done during your mandate as the legal and academic secretary? Is there anything you wish you would have done, or something you regret of not doing?
I think I would like to say I did justice to the position that the students trusted me with. I tried by all means to make sure that whatever I did was what they needed, because at the end of the day, that's what I stood in for, to bring out what students feel they need. But at the same time, I wish I could have, I don't know, been able to communicate more with my friends and my people on what I was going through during that SRC period, because it got to points where it will be so hard and you have to make things work at the end of the day. And I just feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself, a lot of work on myself, and wasn't able to communicate. And I just probably come to him like, oh, dang, all ABCD is going on. I just, I feel like I overworked myself, and it's something that would have been easier if I'd communicated with people in my circle
Interesting. And I have to mention that I'm a class representative. I know how tough we can be. And what are the challenges you faced working with, especially we are in a diverse environment, like we have got people from different backgrounds, different nationalities. What are the challenges you faced as the legal and academic secretary of it?
I'd also like to say that I was very strategic. So
Mhm.
I did have that open door policy to communicate with people individually, but most of my communication was done with class representatives. And to be honest with you, I never struggled with that at all. Work was always easier. They made work easier for me. Understand, as you said, I never had a challenge where I'll probably be like have a lot of people coming in with academic or legal issues, whatever was going on. It was always a smooth sell with class reps, because when I got into SRC, I told myself that they know the people more than I do. They work with the people every day. So the easiest communication was with me and them, and it worked out well.
All right. So I guess this is one of the burning questions I have today. So we're preparing for the SRC elections, and you're running for the position, and then something happens. There's a guy who breaks into your room, and this story goes viral. Like everybody's talking about it. They caught Lethie and somebody in the room and stuff. How do you react at the moment you understood that it went viral? Everybody knows it on campus.
Like any normal person, I don't know. I think saying I was, no, not shocked, definitely. I was hurt. Definitely think about what will people start thinking about me. Definitely at some point I wanted to prove a point that I'm not what what you're hearing about. I'm a different person. I want to say out my story. I want you guys to understand, because that was a very crucial point. I am campaigning for a post that deals with students understanding their responsibilities and their rights at school, and I get involved in something like that. You understand? So it was a bit traumatizing, to be honest. It was a big part of my SRC journey, to be honest. I feel like that's where it all began.
All right. I know how it can affect you mentally. And how did you handle it mentally? Like knowing that I'm running for a position, and I find myself in a position whereby I'm involved into something that does not really reflect the person that I am. How did you handle it mentally? Because I guess it's mentally disturbing.
It did, to be honest. It's one of the things I never really want to think about in most cases, but then sometimes when it made me stronger, it broke me. I remember that the first times it went out, I'll just sit in my room like, you know what, maybe I should just let this go, maybe this is not meant for me, why would stuff like this be happening when I'm campaigning for something like this, and I'm trying to make something of my life, understand? But then I was raised by very strong parents, and I just remember that in one of my parents' teachings, they always told me that in a situation where you're about to turn your life for something better, something huge will try to bring it down. So I used that situation that I went through to just come up. I was like, you know what, if I'm going to have a case on me doing something that's against the school rules, and I know I didn't, then I'll have to turn it around, you understand, and use it to my advantage. I feel like it molded me to what I am now. Like when I came to AU, I always tell people, when I came to Africa University, I was this innocent child who thought the world was rosy, everything was beautiful. I just had to graduate and be something amazing and continue with my life. But when that happened, I just realized that the world needs people that are tougher, so not only men and women in leadership as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's overwhelming that you can say that it made you tougher. It's molded you into the person that you are. But there's something which is coming to my mind. The day of the debate, it's your turn to talk, and then people start
I expected that.
Attacking you. I'm like...
I honestly expected that.
I have to be honest. I didn't expect you to respond in the way that you responded. Yeah. You were strong. You didn't panic. You didn't give up on yourself. You had your head up and stuff. How did you manage to do that?
Because I feel like I had prepared for it, Instead of preparing for the world debate and answering on top for the students, I knew that there was going to be a point where I'll have to explain myself. And not really explain myself, or just try and take all those attacks and stuff. And what had happened, I think during that period, I'd had a lot of community members, a lot of people coming to me, letting me know that, tell me that, you know what, we think you should drop out because my people are not voting for you. And someone will probably say, I heard people saying, we're not voting for you anymore. You know, you don't really have to proceed with this to embarrass yourself, you know. And I remember there's a time I literally said down, I was like, God, if this is meant for me, I'll wake up alive tomorrow and I'll know I need to fight. I remember saying that prayer, and I was like, if it's not, then you might as well take my life away, because there's nothing I'm living for. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and take blame on something that I didn't even know about, didn't even do. So the following day when I woke up, I was like, we're doing this, understand? But I also like to think there was a community as well. I feel like, to be honest, out of all the communities that were there, a lot of people are still in doubt because they didn't exactly know what was going on, and there was this whole story going around, and that's the only side of the story that they have. I'm quiet, you get. Only ones that just came out and they were like, you know what, we believe you because we've known you like that. So we're going to support you wherever it leads. It's fine. And my friends as well, and you too, Daniel. So I think that was enough strength for me. I just needed my closer people to understand me and just know what was going on, and that was just enough.
Yeah, so is there anything you regret about that story?
No.
Do you think the way the school authority ended the story was fair enough?
I know this sounds weird, but I don't regret anything about that story. I don't regret the people's reactions. I don't regret what happened, what the school's reaction, or the way they handled the entire thing. As much as I feel I needed back up a bit, but sometimes I'm like, it really had to happen the way it did, because all my life I've had to fight for something to happen. Like, something just has to happen for the real thing to take place, you understand? So I just feel like everything just happened for a reason. Like, it was all meant to strengthen me. Like, I feel like it was preparing me for this position, because being academic and legal affairs was hard. I feel like if that hadn't happened, I was probably going to crash at some point. It was going to be overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie and say I'm over that. I'm not, and not on the bad side though. Like, every time things just start going haywire, I'm like, but in 2021, I went through this, and we went past it. So what's this, you know? So I don't regret anything that happened. I'm not saying I'd want it to happen again, you know, but I'm just saying I feel like it was a benchmark in my life, you know. It's something that I can always look back at and like, I went through a moment where I had only 10 people who believed in me out of 2,000 and something, and I still made it out.
All right, so let's say you have the opportunity to tell your story about that thing. What do you tell people?
I think I wouldn't mind narrating it to someone who probably needs to be lifted up and they think they're the worst part of their lives, or to someone who feels they would want to know what happened, and they'll literally like just come to me and I'm like, okay, you know, I heard ABCD, what really happened? I don't have a problem with it. But one thing I told myself was that when it happened, no one saw it necessary to come to me and say, I hear ABCD going on. I want to hear your side of the story. You know, people just stuck to one specific side and went through with it. And I just told myself that I do not need to explain myself to anyone. So even up until now, I would not narrate it to anyone because I don't feel like I owe anyone an explanation.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's interesting. We live in a world, or in a society which gives us so much pressure, whereby people feel like we hold them an explanation.
Exactly,
but the truth is that we have nothing to prove. We have nothing to tell anyone. And I really like that. What have you learned? Like, what is that very thing? If you have to mention one thing you learned from that experience, just one.
I'm trying to think because there are a lot of things I learned, but I just learned to believe in myself and to appreciate myself. I don't know if that's one thing, but it's basically one thing. To appreciate myself and to, as you said, to know that I owe no one an explanation about my life.
And
you know.
against all odds, regardless of the situation, finally you made it. You won the election.
I did. I was so shocked. I remember that. I always reflect back to that day. You know, when the voting was happening. I even stopped campaigning at some point because I was like, you know, after the debate, I told myself that I'm just gonna explain myself in the debate. Whoever chooses what they want to choose, it's not my business anymore.
True.
You know, so on the day of the elections, my friends, I remember Natasha, Michelle, Normaline, Sandy, they were all up and down. Guys, don't forget to vote. And I'm just like, you know, it's fine. I'm really over this, you know. I remember telling them that, you know, I just appreciate that I took this journey. You know, whatever will happen after this, I don't really care. You know, I'll just accept it. And I remember 7 o'clock. That was the time. My friends came running from ICT, screaming, and I was so shocked. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, you won. Not even by 2 votes, by 100 and something, you know? Like, we were all and I was like, what? It was really amazing. I think that was a very touching point in my life, you know? This one I was like, God really has his way around stuff. Yeah, sure. You understand? He'll put you in the deepest den and just accept you to crawl out of it. And you will at the end of the day.
Wonderful. All right, and let's say that you're done now with your SRC mandate, and then what are your aspirations? What's next for you? We know you're getting into the parliament, but what are your aspirations again?
Humanitarian work. I'm so into humanitarian work. I've been working with different NGOs because that's the line that I want to take. Like after all of this, you know, SRC. I feel like SRC was just to build me up as a person and prepare me for the after post-uni life. So after this it's definitely humanitarian work. I want to work around children and you know, all those places, try and develop Zimbabwe, Africa large, and probably crawl into the diplomatic side as well. Yeah, I think that's it. After this I just want to focus on building my career, you know, and just doing what I'm passionate about.
Wonderful, and wish you all the best for this coming. Let's say there are ladies who are watching and they want advices from you. They want to get into leadership. What are you teaching them?
I'm not going to lie and say it's going to be tough. And unfortunately, it's not going to be. It's never tough. Sorry, it's never easy for women. You know, we always have these motivational speakers saying, "Oh, it's you know, as women we go through adversity, but it's easy for you to." It's not. It's hard. You know, like as long as you're a woman and you decide you want to get into leadership, there'll always be a lot of things going on.
Gotta be honest.
You understand? There'll always be a lot of people, unfortunately, trying to bring you down. You'll have women trying to bring you down, other men trying to bring you down. So you just have to toughen up and just go. You know, the moment you decide, as a woman, that you want to step into leadership, there's no turning back. You have to go on with it, face the fire, the stones, everything that comes with it. You'll have to stand for it, and it always brings out the goodness at the end of the day. You know, you'll look back and you're like, oh, okay, you know, I literally went through all of this, and I feel like it's a chance to also build yourself and understand yourself as a person. I feel like in most cases with leadership, it's not always about serving, but it's also about understanding the kind of person that you are.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's deep. All right, wonderful. It's been nice having you.
It's been nice having you.
I as I mentioned it before, we got stories that inspires people, that encourages people, but most of the time we don't have the opportunity to share the story. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our show. If you have a story like Lethie, just come and grab that seat and let's have that conversation. As for me, I'll have to thank you and thank our guests. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
See you next.
Have a great one.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. It was your Therapeutic Talk show, your educative show. Hopefully you learned something from this episode. If you want to get more of these videos, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you on the next video.